In the late 14th century, deep inside the stone walls of European castles, young prisoners were subjected to methods so brutal, most history books still avoid describing them. But what happened next is so horrifying, many records were quietly buried or rewritten. The truth has been hidden for centuries. Until now. What I'm about to reveal will change how you see medieval justice forever. Because behind those towering walls wasn't just punishment. It was a system designed to break the human mind itself. Asterisk, to understand the full horror, we need to go back to medieval Europe, a time when castles were not just homes for kings, but prisons of terror. Beneath grand halls and royal chambers, there were hidden dungeons, dark, damp, and forgotten. Powerful rulers like King Edward I of England and King Philip IV of France relied on jailers to control enemies, rebels, and sometimes even innocent children. These prisoners weren't always soldiers. Many were teenagers, or younger, accused of theft, treason, or simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The jailers had one job: extract obedience, or a confession. Historians confirm that medieval prisons were not designed for justice. They were designed for submission. And young prisoners were often seen as easier to break. Records from monastic archives and legal documents suggest that jailers developed specific techniques, methods tailored to crush the will of the young, methods that didn't always leave marks on the body, but destroyed something far deeper. And this is where the story begins to turn darker. Because what they did next wasn't just punishment. It was psychological warfare. Asterisk, but that's not even the worst part. The first method was isolation. Young prisoners were locked in total darkness for days, sometimes weeks. No sound, no light, no human contact. Imagine you're a 13-year-old, trapped underground, unable to tell day from night. According to recorded accounts from the Tower of London, prisoners began hallucinating within days. They heard whispers, saw shadows moving in empty space. Some even started talking to themselves, just to feel human again. Evidence suggests this wasn't accidental. Jailers knew isolation broke the mind faster than pain. And this was just the beginning. Asterisk, what happened next shocked, even hardened historians. The second method involved sleep deprivation. Jailers would wake prisoners every hour, sometimes with cold water, sometimes with loud metal clangs echoing through stone halls. Metal clang, you never got rest. Your thoughts became slow. Your body weakened. According to 14th century French prison logs, young captives would begin to confess to crimes they didn't commit, just to be allowed to sleep. Historians believe this technique was one of the earliest forms of psychological torture ever systematically used. But the reality was far more disturbing. Asterisk, but here's where it gets truly disturbing. The third method targeted fear itself. Jailers staged fake executions. Young prisoners were dragged from their cells, forced to kneel, and made to believe they were about to die. Some accounts describe the sound of blades being sharpened, the smell of burning wood nearby. Blade scraping, then, at the last second, they were thrown back into their cells, alive but shattered. Imagine the terror, your heart racing, your mind breaking, never knowing if the next time would be real. According to documented testimonies, many prisoners never recovered mentally from this. And little did they know, the worst was still to come. Asterisk, the reality was far more disturbing. There were also 3 stages to physical control. First, restraint. Iron shackles were tightened slowly over days, cutting into skin. Second, deprivation. Food and water were limited, just enough to keep you alive. Third, humiliation. Prisoners were forced to beg, cry, and sometimes even betray others to survive. According to records from German castles, jailers believed humiliation destroyed identity faster than pain. You stopped being a person and became something else entirely. Something broken. And this was exactly the goal. Asterisk, but the true horror was still to come. One of the most chilling practices involved manipulation. Jailers would pretend to show kindness, offering food, speaking gently, even promising release. For a moment, hope returned. Then suddenly, it was taken away. The kindness disappeared. The punishment returned worse than before. Historians call this emotional whiplash. It created confusion, dependency, and deep psychological damage. Imagine trusting your captor, only to be betrayed again and again. According to medieval court writings, this method ensured prisoners would obey anything, just to regain that brief moment of mercy. And this was not rare. It was routine. Asterisk, and then there was the final breaking point. Some jailers forced young prisoners to witness the suffering of others. Friends, siblings, even strangers. The screams echoed through stone corridors. The message was clear. This will be you next. Evidence suggests this created a state of learned helplessness. You stopped resisting. You stopped hoping. You simply waited. And that was the ultimate goal, because once the mind was broken, the body no longer mattered. And the truth behind the system is even darker. Asterisk, the ripple effects of this brutality didn't end inside castle walls. Many of those who survived carried the trauma for the rest of their lives. Some couldn't speak normally again. Others feared darkness or sudden sounds until their final days. As for the jailers, most faced no punishment. In fact, they were often rewarded. Their methods were seen as effective, necessary, even justified. Historians now believe these early torture systems influenced later interrogation techniques across Europe. The idea that breaking the mind was more powerful than breaking the body. It spread. And here's the most disturbing part. Some records suggest that not all prisoners were guilty. Many were held for political reasons or false accusations. Children, punished not for what they did, but for what they might do. This dark chapter still haunts our understanding of justice today, because it forces one question: how far will people go when given absolute power over another human being? Asterisk, and if you think that's disturbing, the truth about medieval torture chambers is even more horrifying. I've uncovered evidence of devices designed not just to punish, but to experiment on human suffering itself. Make sure to watch that next, because the secrets of history run deeper and darker than anyone imagined.